What's up everybody, my name is JustJarrod and welcome back to another No Man's Sky video. This one, we're going to be talking about animals / creatures in No Man's Sky because I've been really wanting to make a video about this. I think I said in the past I was working on a video like this, which I have been. It's just I haven't been able to because I haven't had a PC that can edit it, and now I can, so let's get right into the video. So, as you guys know, or should know, unless you're absolutely new to the game, animals and creatures in No Man's Sky are procedurally generated, much like everything else in No Man's Sky. Now, you gotta remember that procedural generation, the No Man's Sky whole system they have set up, it's completely limitless. You gotta remember that. So all these creatures can look totally different. You'll never find the same creature twice. You might find similar ones, but not the same creature twice. And, I mean, you could, but it's just gonna be super, super, super rare. Now, they have a system built in where these creatures, so animals will sound like how they look. So if you have a more big or larger creature, they'll have more of a deeper voice or a deeper, like, raspy tone to their sounds that they make. And if you have a smaller animal, they'll have more of a squeaky kind of tone. So the animals actually sound how they look, which is really cool, really interesting, a cool system that they implemented into No Man's Sky. Now also, animals will walk how they look. So if you have like a big lumbering creature, it'll actually walk how it would look like. So it's not going to look stupid, basically is what I'm saying. You're not going to see a creature that's walking really weird. It's actually going to look like that's how it's supposed to walk. That's how it's supposed to move. So that's also interesting. Now, animals and creatures will also look like the planets you find them on, or they'll look like they belong on the planets you find them on, rather. So if you find a planet or a creature on an ice planet, they're going to look like they belong on the ice planet, right? If you find a creature on a toxic planet, they're going to look like they belong on a toxic planet, much like the blob creatures we've seen on the toxic planet that we saw when IGN first was covering No Man's Sky. So they really look like they belong on that planet, and that's how all creatures, all animals will look like. Now, animals and creatures, they can also be NPC races. So NPC races can look like animals. Like we see the Korvax, they don't really look like an animal. They look more humanoid, with TV screens as heads, kind of. But they do look more humanoid. Their figure is more humanoid. There will be races. I am saying there will be races that look like animals. Now this is just me saying that. It's totally speculation. But we do know that the Gek is a race, and we do know that they are bird-like creatures. So there you go. There will be races that look like animals. So talk before you shoot kind of deal. Make sure they're not a race before you just go out shooting them. Anyways, when you discover these creatures, much like anything else in No Man's Sky, you can actually name the creatures. You can name what you discover, usually how it is, and you can also get currency, in-game currency, for uploading those discoveries, much like everything else. But there will be a filter for naming anything in No Man's Sky, as well as creatures. But I'm sure there will be a way. Players will find a workaround. They always do, but there will be a filter. So you can't just go naming creatures like just totally, off the wall. Bad things, basically. Now the size possibility of animals. So animals in the game can be really, really tiny insects, really, really huge, like Godzilla size. Now, I say Godzilla size, and I'm not exaggerating. Jean-Marie was asked in some interview a while ago, not that long ago, but it's still a while ago. Jean-Marie was asked if you can see creatures, if creatures will get big enough so you can see them from space. He said, will there be Godzilla-like sized creatures? Jean-Marie said he doesn't know. He said it is totally possible, but they have not seen it yet. So there can be. But once again, finding those huge creatures in game, finding like the huge rhino that we've seen in previous trailers, or the underwater shark that we've seen, it's going to be super hard. Now, 9 out of 10 planets are barren. One of those planets will have life on it. Now, if you find a planet that has huge life on it, that's extremely, extremely rare. So finding Godzilla-sized creatures, if Jean-Marie hasn't seen it yet, but he says it is possible, then it must be super rare. So it could happen, but good luck, basically. Now, as it comes to giant creatures, like you can have huge underwater creatures, huge on land creatures, huge flying creatures. Possibility are literally endless in No Man's Sky. You just have to get that in your mind when it comes to animals and creatures, the possibilities are limitless. Now, how dangerous animals can be. Okay, so animals in No Man's Sky can be seriously dangerous. They've talked that animals can kill you in one hit if they just run at you and attack you. Some animals are more passive. There's probably going to be passive aggressive animals where they won't attack you unless you shoot them. There's probably going to be animals that just run from you when you shoot at them. There'll be all types of animals, but there will be creatures who can kill you in one hit and will just come after you on sight. So you got to watch out for that, especially at night. Now, animals and creatures in No Man's Sky, they actually live their own life in the game. It's not like they're just there walking around for you to interact with them. They actually are living their own life. If you see, Sean Murray said in one of the old trailers or old interviews with him, if you see a creature on the ground walking in a certain direction and you leave the planet and come back, you will see that creature farther down the line of the direction he was moving. So they actually live their own life. Animals actually sleep at night, and nighttime animals come out at night. If an animal is quote-unquote thirsty, they will actually walk to a water source and drink from it. There is a food chain in No Man's Sky, and there's a possibility of evolution for creatures in No Man's Sky. It's kind of been hinted at. Sean Murray has been asked the question of it, and he hasn't really given a straightforward answer. So evolution could be a possibility. Not sure exactly how that would work, or how long of time it would take for evolution to actually kick in before you actually notice it. But it could be a thing, but it might not, because of the small, like the really small percentage of people who would go back to a planet, you know, later down the line to see if something has evolved, or to even remember at that point what you saw before, truthfully. So I don't know if evolution will be a thing, but it hasn't been like confirmed that it is not a thing, so it still could be. Now, when I said animals actually look like they belong on the planet you find them on, it's the same with night animals. So as night animals come out, they look like they belong in the night. And kind of just like plants do at night, they could have a glowing effect so you can see them, or so they stand out more at night, which is really cool. We've seen the glowing plants, which I'll show in the background, in No Man's Sky at night. So animals could also have that effect. That would be really interesting. But also at night, animals tend to be more dangerous, so you gotta watch out for that. Now, I guess a lot of you probably have the question, can you kill animals? You can definitely kill animals. If you haven't seen Anthony Carboni do it already, he has killed quite a few animals, so you can kill them. But it will probably be impossible to like eradicate an entire animal species just because of the grand scale of the game. It would be like trying to kill every goldfish on Earth. Like, it's just not gonna happen. If you're gonna go around to every person's house, every fish bowl, every lake, every pond, looking for a goldfish to kill it, to slaughter every goldfish on Earth, then good luck in No Man's Sky, because that's literally how long it will take you. It's just not going to happen. Unless you're a hater of goldfish, you just really, really have just like the urge to kill every one, then I guess you can go ahead and try, but you just got to know it's going to take you a long time. Just think about it. Every goldfish on Earth, it's not going to happen. So right now, as far as we know, you cannot loot animals you kill. So there's no looting of animals. And Sean actually answered this a long time ago, saying they didn't want the game to feel like you had to kill animals to get things. They didn't want it to be a killing game, right? They didn't want that aspect to be a way everybody plays, just going around killing everything, right? They don't want killing to be a way of finding resources. They don't want people to just go around killing everything because it's easy to get resources that way. You just shoot some creatures and they run from you, so it's easy to kill them, or they don't attack you, so you're not going to take damage and you could just get resources from them. I don't think it's going to be in the game. He said that it wouldn't be. I mean, I know things change about the game quite a lot, so he could change his mind, but Sean Murray did say there'd be no looting animals. Red Bull did an article recently, which I did a video on, where they said you could loot animals, but I think that's totally false. I don't know where they got that information. I don't believe it's true. I talked to other No Man's Sky YouTubers, they don't believe it's true, so I'm sticking with no looting of animals. And also, you will not be able to take animals or creatures as pets, because I have this question quite a lot. A lot of people ask if you could take a creature or an animal, since you can name it, can it be your pet? It won't actually be your pet. I mean, you could name it and follow it around like it's your pet if you really want to, but you can't like just take it with you into space. There's no taking your pet into your ship and flying off into space into the sunset. There's none of that. You can't have a pet. Also, you cannot take your pets into space on top of your ship. I mean, not your pets. You can't take creatures or animals on your ship and take them into space. I remember people recently actually were telling me, like, I'm gonna put an animal on my ship somehow and take it into space with me because I heard you can do that. You can do that, but Sean Murray said that's a glitch or a bug, and they're gonna fix it before the launch of the game. So don't be thinking you're gonna create like a huge farm of animals in space at a space station. It's just not gonna be a thing. Now that kind of sums up the basis of what animals and what creatures are or could be in No Man's Sky. Now I'm gonna talk about what I want to see from the animals, from the creatures in No Man's Sky. So first off, I want to see underwater creatures in No Man's Sky actually jump out of the water and back in, kind of like a dolphin would do. That would be super cool for me. I'm big on the underwater in No Man's Sky, and you'll find that out pretty soon if you don't know already. So I want to see like a dolphin-like creature, or just some kind of creature jump out of the water and back in the water, because it make it look more surreal, more real life almost, because that does happen on Earth. Also, if there is lava or lava-like planets in No Man's Sky, which I do really want, I want there to be creatures that actually live in the lava, kind of like lava fish, if you will. That would be super awesome. Also, I want to know if birds can actually land on the ground, because we haven't ever seen a bird take off from ground level or land on the ground. We've always seen them flying in the air. That's it. So I don't know if they can actually land. I have no idea. So I kind of want to know that. You would think they would, but it's a thing that nobody's thought about, I don't think. I just recently thought about it when I was making this video, or when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about. So that's really interesting, because we haven't seen that, and it's really weird that we haven't. So I really hope that they can land. Also, I want to mention this since I'm on the topic of birds. If any of you guys have seen the recent IGN First gameplay and stuff like that, which I'm sure all of you have, you might have noticed that the birds are flying in unison. What I mean by that is when there's 2 birds or 3 birds next to each other, the wings are flapping at the exact same time, kind of thing. Now that, people were worrying about it. People were commenting on videos I saw talking about it. A lot of my friends were talking about how they didn't like that in the game and they hope it'll change. I'm here to tell you that it's not going to be like that when the game releases. I don't think it will be, only because if you go back and look at the old trailers, like just the old No Man's Sky trailers, all the birds aren't flying in unison. They're all doing their separate thing, kind of like in real life. No bird are flying, flapping their wings in unison. That's not a thing in the old trailers. It would be weird that it's a thing now, because that's kind of working backwards, you would think. That's kind of just, it's getting better to worse. Like, that's not what they want. So I think that's just the build of the game that they were playing on. Just the demo. I don't think the birds will be flying in unison when the game is actually out. So don't worry about that. And last but not least, one of my ultimate goals in No Man's Sky will to be to find a huge underwater creature. I want to find a ginormous underwater creature. Maybe not Godzilla-sized underwater creature. I don't know how that would work. But just a giant underwater creature. And I actually plan on doing a series solely based on this, so that's going to be really cool. Some of you watching this now might know that I have a huge fear of underwater in video games, so I'm super excited to see how the series will play out, because I'm kind of like facing my fear of underwater in video games with No Man's Sky. I know it's a weird fear to have. No, I'm not really afraid of underwater in real life. It's just in video games. It's a weird, I don't know how to explain it. I tried to explain it multiple times to people. They just seem to get confused. Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. Make sure you let me know in the comments what you would like to see from the animals or from the creatures in No Man's Sky. What I didn't talk about. Let me know if I missed anything. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions, also leave them in the comments box below. But thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to check out my last video, which will be linked in the outro. That was on weather and biomes in No Man's Sky. Anyways, guys, make sure you like the video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up for me, and subscribe for anything and everything No Man's Sky. My name has been JustJarrod, aka the No Man's Sky guy, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.